can look for is corrosion resistance. Very famous. Click. What are the theories? Material, mass effect, environmental, and others. Click. You can see humidity plays an important role. Only when it is more than 60% will you have corrosion. Click. Therefore, the idea was that Delhi climate is very dry, therefore there is no corrosion. Unfortunately, Delhi is wet in the month of winter and in monsoon season. Click. The real problem is that, click, there are a lot of iron objects which are not corroded even in humid environments. What are they? Click. You can see, go to the west coast of India, click, at Chadri, there is a pillar which is only about 16 kilometers from the sea, top of the Western Ghats. Click. It rains almost for 6 months in the year. This pillar is hardly corroded. Click. Next one, you go to center of India, dry place relatively. Click. You find the Dhar iron pillar, which is twice the size of Delhi iron pillar. Click. Now lying in 3 broken pieces. Again, you can see, click, a very clean and smooth surface. Click. Go to the western part of eastern part of India. Click at a place called Puri. Click. The original temple of the Sun Temple at Konark. Click. And this is the way it looks like. Click. This is held together. Click. With huge, massive girders, 1 feet by 1 feet in cross section. Look, new, no, back. Here is the old iron. This is new iron. Look at the color, golden color. Look at this color, junk color. There is something happening here. Click. There are iron pillars in the courtyard. Click. You can see all of them are practically not corroded. Konark is sitting right on the sea coast. Hardly any corrosion. Click. Go to Bhubaneswar. Click. The great temple of Jagannath. Click. It's held together with 230 beams which are 1 feet by 1 feet in cross section. Click. Come to a large number of forge welded cannons. Click. In Tanjavur, Rajagopala. Click. In Dalmagal, Vishnupur. Click. There are so many. Look at the color. The color is as if like gold. This does not look like steel to me, iron to me. Click. You go and several examples. Click. I am now studying all the forts of South India and cataloging the cannons. Click. I will show you example at Gulbarga. Click. And here it goes. Ah, beautiful. Next one. Click. 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 Wow, if our guys can make such cannons, you have to be good in iron, metallurgy. You just can't make a cannon like that. And I've written a book on this subject, click, and that goes, which was published last year, the saga of Indian cannons, click. Now let's come back to the material carefully, click. You will notice phosphorus is relatively high in all the analysis of the iron pillar composition. Click. There are other ancient iron objects, you can see phosphorus is very high. Click. In the year 1997, I took a piece of rust from just below the Delhi iron pillar decorative bell capital, click, and subjected them to a lot of modern analysis techniques. And click, I found X-ray diffraction pattern, only one crystalline phase, which is a phosphate, only one. Even the intensity matches for this particular phase, click. If you look at iron oxide phases, all are amorphous. You can only get a broad band where the iron oxide peaks are supposed to be. Click. FTIR shows up all the iron oxide phases. Click. Most power shows that the rust is very fine, and also you get some ideas about the kind of phases which are present. Click. Therefore, we know the rust of the iron pillar, the old rust of the iron pillar contains these particular phases. How do they play a role in corrosion resistance? Click. Here you see, in the case of mild steel, you have a rusted surface. There are cracks and moisture will get inside, oxygen will get inside, and corrosion will take place. Click. In the case of weathering steel, steels which contain little amount of copper, chromium, nickel, and phosphorus, an amorphous layer of delta FeOH forms, and that gives resistance to corrosion. Click. In the case of Delhi iron pillar, we believe it is because of the phosphorus in the iron, and due to wetting and drying and wetting and drying, you form a phosphate layer, and once a phosphate layer forms, corrosion will practically come to a stop. Therefore, the reason for the corrosion resistance of the iron pillar is due to the formation of a protective passive film which resists against corrosion. Click. What is the proof of that? Click. 1963, you can see the microstructure. Click. What are the characteristics? Self-healing. Click. You see 63, they took a piece of iron from the iron pillar. Click. And you can see in 1993, you don't even know where the rust was taken, where the cut was taken. Click. Also, look at the place I took in 97 and 98, it's completely healed. Click. And of course, thin, very, very thin passive film. Look at the reflection on the surface. Click. Here is a Click. Here is the surface 1600 years old and shining as if it is like a mirror. It means the passive film is hardly micron thick. That is nanotechnology. Click. Now, let us go back, and very interesting, the color, click. If you look at the pillar from a certain angle, looks golden because of spectral reflection of yellow coming from the phosphate in the protective rust layer. Click. Now you can see observations continue. Click. People are going, hugging the pillar and writing their name, Bala loves Mala, so on and so forth. Therefore, click. What happened is that the pillar which was free, click, has now, click. What has happened in 1997, click, the pillar got caged. Nobody can go and touch the pillar now. Click. This cage, of course, was now round. Click. Then they converted that into a square cage. Click. At present, there is only a square cage around the iron pillar. Click. You can see the wonderful markings which were there on the surface. Click. Now you can see this area, nobody can go and touch. And therefore, what did I do? Every 6 months, every 3 months, I was in Delhi photographing this area to see how the color changes. Click. You can see this is the reference point. I haven't talked about the manufacturing technology, it's a different story altogether. Click, you can see 1998, click, you can see lepidopterocyte forming on the surface by the yellowish brown color. Click, 1999, click, it had become more darker, more goethite maybe is forming. Click, in the year 2000, click, the color of the iron pillar was replicated at this location. Therefore, it means it takes 3 years for the formation of the protective passive film. Click, I modeled this one, click, and this model was very widely reported in Nature. Click. Therefore, we got a lot of publicity. Click. And this publicity also got us several articles in good journals. Click. And of course, it entered also into undergraduate textbooks based on the work we did so far. Click. Now we look into the future. Click. We know. Click. Phosphoric iron. Click. Are very important, but the problem with phosphorus is that it will lead to embrittlement. So how do we metallurgically monitor phosphoric iron? Click. What did we do? We started looking at what did the old people do? I got hold of iron from Gupta temple at Devgarh, 1600-year-old iron, click, and put them into metallography. Oberhofer agent, which will reveal phosphorus content, click. You can see the grain boundary has been relieved of phosphorus. They have done something to the material. The grain boundary does not contain phosphorus. Therefore, the iron is going to be ductile. Click. Look at the surface. Phosphorus also is getting removed from the near surface region because it's going to protective passive film most likely. Click. Very interesting. TEM observation, same material. Click. You can see I do notice some kind of segregation at the grain boundary. Click. And also I found some phosphide precipitation in the material. Click. And of course, the basic idea is that in order to prevent embrittlement, you add small amount of carbon and control the microstructure. How? Click. Here is the idea of carbon addition. Click. You take a grain boundary and click, put carbon in that. Once you put carbon here, phosphorus will not get here because carbon is interstitial. It will repel phosphorus or substitutional solid solute. Click. Therefore, how do you do that? Click. Go to the iron phosphorus phase diagram. Click. And look at, click. And you look at the high temperature two-phase region, gamma loop here. Click. Here is a gamma loop. This is gamma austenite. This is ferrite. You take your material to a two-phase region, heat treat here. The grain boundary will be gamma, matrix will be alpha. All the carbon will go to gamma, all the phosphorus will go to alpha. Simple as that. Click. Here is the idea, grain boundary. Take it to two-phase region. Click. You have austenite with low phosphorus and grain boundary with grain with high phosphorus. Cool down, that will remain. Click. That is the basic idea of the heat treatment philosophy to make ductile phosphoric iron. Click. Now you see, we took material of 3 phosphorus content, compared them with Tata Tiscon and Tata CRS. This was done by a PhD student of mine, Dr. Gadadhar Sahu. What a brave character. In this day and age when everybody wants to do nanotechnology, here was a guy who came and told me, sir, let me explore the iron pillar material. Wow, he is a student. Here. Now, click. You can see we did the two-phase treatment. We found the segregation of phosphorus away from the grain boundary. And what do you get? Click. Ductility, which is much more than even your Tiscon. Not only that, you get more yield strength. You get more UTS because phosphorus is a fantastic solid solution strengthening element. Click. Now, more important, corrosion. We did what of corrosion? And we found corrosion in concrete environment to be very interesting. Click. Why is concrete important? Click. 2 years ago, here is a bridge collapse in Minnesota. Click. Cars are going, boom, the whole bridge collapses. Click. People die. Click. The reason is because of corrosion of iron in the reinforcement. It's a major problem all over the world. Click. Therefore, we looked at the behavior of phosphoric iron. Click. And we did cement grout testing. Click. Here is the way we do testing sample. Click. Put in concrete. Click. And then we do electrochemical testing in the laboratory. Duplicate testing. Triplicate testing. Click. And then you can see from the sort of polarization diagram, the passive current density for my phosphoric iron is at least 1 order of magnitude below that of normal steel. In a country like India, we have almost lost our scientific temper. All our scientists, most of them, you show a curve, they don't understand the value of data point. This means if a steel can last 10 years, this means it can last 100 years. That's a fact. Unfortunately, we don't believe that. We want to see. Click. Therefore, click. I did immersion testing in saturated calcium hydroxide, simulating concrete and 5% NaCl. That's a lot of chloride content. Click. Here is a look of that. Tata CRS, Tata corrosion resistant steel, mind you, not normal steel. Here is Tata Discount. After 90 days, there is absolutely no corrosion in P1, P2, P3. Incredible. Imagine what it means. It means your CRS will die in 10 years. This phosphoric iron will go at least for 100 years easily. Click. Of course, things are not so rosy. After 125 years, everyone has to corrode. P1 has started corroding, so has P2. Click. After 210 days, P3 is still shining like stainless steel. Even this started corroding after 270 days. Click. Therefore, this idea of developing a new iron, it was reported very widely and also a feature article in several journals. Very interesting. People were saying it's a corrosion resistant iron, not some new modern high-tech material, but iron, which we have discovered based on our work on the iron pillar. Of course, this was 2008. Click. We knew about it all the way in the 2004. We already knew we had a golden material. Of course, click. Once we did this, our name has now also come into high school textbook level. Click. Therefore, there are several other things which are important to understand: welding, heat treatment, impact strength, modification of material standards. The whole world says phosphorus cannot be more than 0.05%. What do I say? Change the standard. Make phosphorus not as a bad element, but as an alloying addition. Then we can start making phosphoric and apply it in practice. Also, possibly large-scale production. Who will do that? Who will do that? The industry. Will they do that? Unfortunately, no. They're interested in making money and they don't think 100 years hence. So we have to think, we have to make it happen. Click. The reason is clear. The best of the new is often long forgotten past. Thank you.
Thank you. The most modern techniques. I think we are running against time, and I'm sure you will have lots of questions to ask him. The best thing is to reserve our anxiety.
What an amazing algorithm of history and technology. Thank you very much, sir. And also, he has more than 250 pictures for us on the slides. Equally amazing. I request
Nitin.
our secretary.
I will try to make my overview not only about ESR, but about all special melting technologies. Thank you. Sorry about this. Okay, much better. Next, please. So, within those 2 days, we talk a lot about history and about time we are living now. My point is that we are still living on the Iron Age due to the very simple fact that steel remains to be the most useful structural materials. Up to due to the best statistic data last year, altogether we produced about 1.4 billion tons of rolled steel. From that ocean of structural materials, steel and superalloys and titanium alloys produced by special melting technologies looks like drops, about 2.5, probably 2.8 millions altogether. I mean the materials produced via vacuum arc remelting, ESR, plasma arc and electron beam melting. By the way, metal produced by special melting technology used for most critical application. And from list of such critical application, I would like to mention just power generation, because today main challenge for us as a metallurgists is the new level of requirements to the materials for steam and gas turbine for power generation. Next, please. So, let me be focused on the electroslag remelting process. I do believe this sketch is known for everybody. Now, next, please. Click, please. So, and one more click, please. Let me make short comment about all special melting technologies, because these characters of the two different families of special melting technologies influence very much on the ability to control solidification during the remelting processes. From that point of view, ESR and vacuum arc remelting looks like twins, because we have during those remelting processes very rigid dependence between heat or power input and speed of melting.